Hello, 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 crossroads witches and other interesting people. I just stepped in from outside. I had this whole moment of, oh my God, magic's real. And it made me start thinking about our last Thursday night's topic was, how did we know when magic was real? How did we decide that, wow, it's real? And in that moment, I was discussing that, when I was 18 years old, I got to go to a small gathering in North Carolina where about 3 or 4 groups came together. There was about, I don't know, maybe 75 people there. Now, do understand this was in the early 1980s, so even having that amount of people. But for me personally, that was the first time I had ever seen community. I had ever seen other witches. And I remember standing there thinking, oh my gosh, it is real. It's real, real. Not only for me, that external validation, I was a young witch at the time, but knowing it won't in my head, knowing I wasn't the only one, I wasn't alone. And that was a really big moment, and I remembered that, and that was my story that I told in our discussion. And then I had something happen that, again, had me that moment, magic's real. And last week I had done a video on lemon magic. That's coming, y'all see I have my lemons for prosperity, for a bright and sparkly sunny new year. I had done this up and I made a video for y'all on lemons. Well, earlier I put the video out on Thursday, right? So on Monday, y'all, I get a little witchy subscription box. And my witchy subscription box was all about the goddess Fortuna, the goddess of fortune. And they had all sorts of little things in the box that lined right up with the working I was already doing. And that's when I had that moment of, oh my God, it's a magical coinky-dink, magic's real type thing. And thinking about it and realizing that, it wasn't a big moment. It was all these little moments. And for me, it very much was, that I'm in alignment with things, that, the flow. And here I am working some, prosperity, bright and sunny magic. And then my witchy box has got bright and sunny in it. And then today I was cleaning out that last little tidbit, because y'all know I've been on site here for a year and a half. And so there's a couple of boxes that I ain't quite straightened out yet. And I was going through there and I found this whole little box full of prosperity work and things. So I came up here and I added them to my altar of, all the things for the coming year that, for me, that I want to see, and the projects that I want to do or finish. And the other thing that we had done, and we did this the last time at the Witch's Cottage, is I grow lemongrass. And in the fall, I cut it all back because here it's not a perennial, it's an annual. You have to get some every year. And then we made up these beautiful bundles, and lemongrass itself is that cleansing, bringing good vibes, good energies in. I like lemongrass. I like to smudge with it, to smoke things with it, whatever your phraseology is on that. But I love to use lemongrass. And so I was all excited about it and everything. And then sure enough, y'all, they sent me a little thing of blessing oils that's got lemongrass in it. And again, that's why I was like, it's all just lining up on how do I know magic is real? Because it's affirmed every day. Because things in my life happen. I don't know how else to say that to y'all other than it happens. And, you know, I don't worry about it. I don't overthink it. And I think that's a big problem is you're like, is it working? Is it working? And as soon as you're saying that, you're dissipating the magic because you're putting doubt into it. Always talk about when, never if. I do not have if in my vocabulary, if this works. I have when this works. I wonder how it's going to show itself, because y'all know the universe has a way of showing itself in very unexpected ways. So when I'm doing up working, I'm always thinking, I wonder how the universe is going to show me this. All right? As opposed to, does it work? No, I don't. If you're thinking, does magic work? Then no, magic does not work, because you've already put doubt into it. You've already given it an avenue, a failure. You're setting that energy up for it to fail. And how important it is to make sure that our words match our altars. If you're asking for, you know, an altar of grace, you may be asking for understanding, forgiveness. My question to you is, are you showing grace? Are you giving forgiveness? Are you giving understanding and compassion? Do not ask for what you have not given. All right. And when it comes to, you know, setting up an altar for prosperity, what have you done to help the world be more prosperous? What are you doing to put it out there? You know, that's one of those, are you opening up doors for little old ladies? Are you making sure to be polite? You know, if the line is long, are you standing there patiently? And sometimes that's hard. And I know sometimes I'm like, she couldn't get any slower, could she? But the reality is stopping back, sitting back and realizing that poor woman's got a shift. She's been working. She's doing the best she can. And giving that space of understanding, that space of, you know, compassion and grace, so that when I'm asking for it on my altar, it's something that I'm giving. And prosperity isn't about how much money I can get. Prosperity is, for me, is about making sure, yeah, my bills are paid, of course, but that I'm living in a safe, secure environment, that I'm creating a safe space for other people to come into. And what am I doing to make that happen? All right. You know, I don't ask for anything on my altar that I'm not willing to give myself. That's my first thought in my process. And it makes me think about, you know, how important it is for us as witches and other interesting magical folks to really know our ethics and our morals. And this segues into next week's video, because I am doing a video on morals and ethics. Actually, I'm doing more on ethics, about reaffirming our ethics as we're going into the year, reaffirming our ethics as we're going into a global world that's just a shit show, y'all. Y'all know what I'm saying, especially if you're American and you're on the other side of the red hat, folk. You're just like, ooh, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? You're going to make sure that you're living your life right, that your ethics are right, and you're going to make sure that your altars represent you, that they are a true extension of you. We often, you know, how do I set up my altar? People often ask. Actually, this part here is my actual working altar. This is just some stuff up here that I have. Down here is another altar. Let me see if I can get my camera down. That is an altar, ancestral altar, an altar to the dead that I keep year round. And I use it for different seasons. I dress it up and I change it and things like that. This is what I call my working altar. Ooh. That's part of my prosperity. A little bit of, they sent me a lemon slice and some cinnamon. And I was just like, well, isn't that too perfect with a couple of bells? Bells are always good. Nothing like ringing in some energies. But this is my working space where if whatever I'm actively feeding, whatever energies I'm wanting to work, I typically, like my prosperity, I will work it during the first part of January and February, and then there is no I don't have a schedule per se from one full moon to the other or anything like that. It's just when I feel it's done. And most of the time it's month of January, part of February, is when you'll see me sitting up I want a bright and sparkly year altar. I call it a lot of different things every year, but the theme is about the same. And that is that I want to set the tone for a good year. And taking the time to work those energies, I may put a tarot card up there if that's what, where I've got a card that means something, and I'll sit it up there and meditate, marinate on it for a couple of days, and then I'll go get my deck, and then I'll put another card up there. Other times I may add, as you can see, little tidbits to it. It's called feeding it, or I'm constantly working it. I will come here with my lemons, and I sit and hold them, tell them how bright and sparkly they are, and how all that energy is just going to be around me and all the folks who are around me, even y'all. When I'm standing in here, I really do think about, my YouTube folks, that I hope each and every one of you have a bright and prosperous year. I hope all of you finish your projects too, because I've got a lot of projects from last year that just didn't happen. I wanted to finish them, but y'all know how it goes. So this year I'm going to work on finishing them, But I do think about you all, and how grateful I am to share this with you, to share some of my old witchy wisdom with you and everything. And this coming year, I am not as active, not that I ever was really active on social media, but I do plan on being a little less as well, tapping it down just a tad, where I just don't want to be a part of that realm anymore. I want to make sure I'm focusing myself on the dirt I stand on, the people that I stand in space with, that, for us here with sitting up the Storybook Barn and creating a gathering space that welcomes diversity, that is inclusive of everybody, that I'm here in this space. And so social media, I wish I was that witch that was like, ooh, I need to press a pretty picture. I don't quite think like that. A lot of times when I'm doing a working, afterwards I'll be like, oh, I should have made a video. It's what they talk about with some of the projects we've done here. They're like, oh, you should do before and after. And I'm like, yeah, I'm just really not that witch, I do like sharing so much with y'all, but there are other parts of my life that I want them to be part of my life, and I'm not willing to share them. That's where I've slowly learned my boundaries on what I want to share, what I want to talk about, and things like that. And this coming year with social media, for me, it's very much about backing off of it, really working the House of Witchcraft space, because y'all know we have our first Thursday of the month is an open chat. Anybody can come. Y'all are welcome. Come on out. We have a virtual chat. We have a guest where we'll ask different authors, different notable people in our community to come chat with us. And then every other Thursday, we have our Witchy Thursday chat where we have a topic. Like I was talking, last week's topic was, when did you know magic was real? And having a discussion and hearing other folks' experiences. Because witchcraft, magic at its finest, is an oral tradition. And I still believe that. After all these years, if anything, I believe it more. All right? You cannot replace a mentor. You cannot replace a teacher. You cannot replace experience. And it doesn't matter how many books you read. It's never going to happen. You need to get into the community. You need to talk with other practitioners, other interesting magical beings. Not only does it inspire you in a lot of ways, but back to that first thing I was talking about when I was 18 years old and walking into space with other witches and interested magical people for the first time. It validated me. I was not the strange kid doing magic in the corner who thought that I was the only one doing it. Instead, I found this amazing, vibrant community. And over the years, I've been so blessed to meet many people, to get to know a lot. And 98% of my experiences have all been really positive. Yes, there's been a couple of asshole moments. And honestly, looking back and being truthful, I was probably the asshole half of the time. I'm not going to say that it wasn't the other people. My dark witch demon wings, you know, I was just like done being social. And so I got a little edgy. And making sure that I don't do that to people, making sure I acknowledge it and that I do go back and apologize and take responsibility. But 98% of all my interactions, I ain't got nothing but good things to say, y'all. And so I hope you take a lot of my wisdom and get involved more. You know, if not necessarily my group, yes, I would love to have you join House of Witchcraft. Like I said, we have a virtual group, and if you're here in the Charleston area, we have a local group. We also have a group in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. We have a group out in Colorado Springs, and we have a group in San Diego. And if you're close enough to any of those spaces to go join in with them, if you're not, come to our virtual space. And we have other activities. We also do, you know, virtual full moons and all sorts of stuff, to be honest with you. It's really amazing to be able to open up our space on a global level like that. And that was part of my prosperity work. And again, when I was, you know, with all y'all folk, where I'm out here thinking I want y'all to do well, I'm thinking all the folks in the House of Witchcraft, I want this working to be for you as well, you know, because I know a lot of you, it took a lot of courage to walk into space. It took a lot of courage to hit that Zoom link and then to turn your camera on. Ah, how scary with a group of strangers and the, you know, all of those thoughts in your head of, I don't know enough. Am I good enough? You know, am I witchy enough? Am I magical enough? And all these things. Come as you are. You're just fine the way you are right now. Okay? There is no requirement. It's about showing up for yourself and the opportunity to hear other people sit and chat and to hear their stories of magic. And again, back to, you know, how do you know magic's real? I hear a lot of stories from folks, and I know magic's real. I have my own. I know magic's real. And I just had a magical coinky-dink with my work and lining up with my subscription box and then finding my other box of prosperity items. And all in a couple of days. And so to me, it was very much meant to be. It was like, are you waiting for a sign? Everybody's like, what's the sign? And I'm like, honey, you're getting signs all the time. You just got to be willing to listen to them. All right? So I want to hear your thoughts on this one. When did you know magic was real? When was that moment in was it a work and a spell you were doing? Was it because of something that happened? You know, I wanted for us to share with each other. And of course, please read those comments below. We got some really smart witches and other interesting magical folk that leave some good comments down there and everything. And of course, I'm going to tell you, hit that subscribe. Don't cost you nothing. It helps me out a lot. In the YouTube universe algorithm, hit subscribe, hit like, sharing a video are all things that really do help keep my channel up a little higher in the thing. Y'all probably know more about it than what I'm saying. But if you want to support me, you like what you're seeing with the House of Witchcraft, you're like, I really enjoy your videos, hit that subscribe, all right? I would so appreciate. And with that said, witches, y'all know it never changes. It's always the same. Get out there, fly those brooms, have a bright, blessed day. And as always, amen, blessed be, ashe, and a bobo.